we have real Americans here to ask Kenneth real American questions. As concerned, active, and engaged citizens, they are here to ensure that this presidential candidate is a good one. Kenneth Anderson, a family man, successful lawyer, and all-around American. Born and raised in the great state of Wisconsin, he is ready to serve the best country in the world as our president. Vote Kenneth!
Hiya folks, my name is Kenneth and I'm from the great state of Wisconsin and I can't wait to be your next president.
Here we have Billy Sr., Billy Jr., Betsy, Judith, she attends University of Arizona, and let's not forget Sue, a real family straight out of the great state of Ohio. Today our family is wondering about how a balanced budget would affect them. I think Betsy is wondering what a balanced budget is.
Betsy, a balanced budget is when the money that the government makes is equal to the money that the government spends.
But Mr. Kenneth, is that a good thing?
Now listen here, Betsy, it can go either way, but I personally think that in certain situations, running a budget deficit and not having a balanced budget can be a really good thing. When a government runs a budget deficit, that means we are spending more money than we are making in revenue. I know this sounds scary, but it can act as an automatic stabilizer.
But Mr. Future President, what does that mean?
Now this means that when our country is falling into a recession, the government can spend more money on things like welfare, income support, and unemployment benefits for people that have lost their jobs. These things stabilize the economy when there are fluctuations and help prevent us from falling into a recession. And that is what an automatic stabilizer will do.
What else will it help with?
Well now, Judith, I'm glad you asked. Government spending can boost aggregate demand, output, and unemployment rates when private sector demand is stagnant or falling. That's why I think we as a federal government of the best country in the entire solar system should not prioritize balancing our budget.
Oh, Mr. Future President, you're so smart.
Well, thank you, Judith. I certainly do like to think so. Sometimes you have to spend a little to make a little. I don't expect you to understand this yet, Judith, but I promise government spending can be a really good thing.
But, Mr. Future President, sir, I was talking to my dear friend Mary Lou the other day, and I heard that we're in debt to China. Mr. President, I don't want to get taken over by China.
My dear Sue, not to fret. The government can't go bankrupt, you silly goose. Most of the debt we owe to ourselves and the citizens of our nation. In other words, that money that we would borrow in order to run a deficit is going to stay within this great nation of the United States of America.
I've been unemployed ever since the recession hit. I've had to manage a balanced budget at home. Why can't the government do the same?
Well, Senior, the government isn't like your perfect little family, or even like a business for that matter. It has the ability to tax people and get more money by selling government bonds. Therefore, it should be treated as so. Not any old Joe can print their own money.
Please elaborate, Mr. Kenneth.
Okay, Billy Sr., the government does not lose their money when they spend it as a business would. It re-enters the market and boosts aggregate demand.
What will I get from the government spending more money?
Well, Billy Jr., the government could spend money on public works projects like parks and gymnasiums for your friends to play in. Governments often invest in large-scale public work and infrastructure projects to kickstart the economy when it's not doing so well. For example, during the Great Depression, the New Deal and federal projects #1 employed millions of people to work on public work projects. Public work projects are stuff like building parks, schools, hospitals, beaches, bridges, airports, and railroads. Just like I said, the notable projects for the federal projects #1 include the construction of things like Griffith Observatory, Timberline Lodge, Midway Airport in Chicago, and the Robinson Place Center. These construction sites provide jobs for thousands of Americans and kickstarted the economy into working again.
Okay. Well, gee, I like parks. I also like airplanes and trains and sports. I like baseball. Go
money we borrow. If we use the borrowed money on things like schools, energy supply, and workplace safety, then we'll be running a good deficit. However, if the money is spent on something such as the Iraq War, we'll be running a bad deficit, and we'll ultimately lose money. I, Kenneth, promise that if you, the Americans, elect me as president, I will invest in you. And I approve this message.